Hello, gorgeous. I'm Tammy. This is I Am Inspiring Women. And this week we have another great interview.
Hello, everyone. So I am super stoked. I have one of my most favorite people on today. I have Barbie the Welder Parsons. Yes, a woman welder. She's badass. She's amazing. I love her. Barbie, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I can go on and on about you, but I want you to tell the audience about yourself.
Today I have been a artist, a metal sculptor full time for 5 years. Uh, but 12 years ago, when I got the idea to be a metal sculptor, I was living on welfare. I was in an unhappy marriage, and I was just like depressed and miserable. But I saw during this time, I saw the woman welding these giant angel wings in the movie Castaway, starring Tom Hanks. And seeing her weld this art, it just spoke to my soul. And even though I had no background in art, no background in business, no background in welding, I knew right then and there, that 15-second clip, that I was meant to be a metal sculptor. I ended up saving up money. It took me 9 months to save up money to go to school to learn to weld. I did a 6 month BOCES course and then learned enough in welding and fabrication to pass a welding test and get hired in a custom fabrication shop. I worked there 5 years to learn the art of welding and fabrication. And during that time, I fixed my credit, divorced my husband, bought a house for the garage, and started saving up to purchase welders and tools for my home. It was about 3.5 years into working there, and I started working part time here, teaching myself how to create art and full time at work. And then after 5 years and earning my journeyman in iron plate and sheet metal, I quit my job to go full time as a metal sculptor.
That's fantastic. I love that you put the time in there because so many people think, "Oh, she just did this overnight." It's not it's not an overnight process. Nothing that we do is an overnight process. So, obviously, this is something you chose. Did you have any difficulties that you had to work through? I mean, obviously, you had to fix your credit. Um, Welding is a very male dominated industry. How did you deal with that? Because you don't and I'm not gonna judge or put, I no, actually, I'll be honest, I will, because you're very delicate, you're very dainty. Well, you think of I think of welders, I think of these big burly guys who have to have all this massive equipment, and you are so cute and little, and it's like, "How the hell does she do this?" So did you and that's me as a woman projecting onto you. How did guys, you know, how did you deal with the guys who see you and think, "Oh, you're a girl, you can't weld?"
I was very, very lucky that, and I say lucky because not everyone has my experience, but in school, my teacher was amazing. I was the only woman, but the guys were very accepting. I was never treated any different being a woman. I was also the smallest person in class, but was able to, able to do everything. When I started my job at Cameron Manufacturing and Design, it's a local custom fab shop. There was one other woman that was working there as a welder, and she actually taught me how to TIG weld. She's an amazing TIG welder. But in that shop, I didn't have any sexism. There was no problems with it. People saw my work ethic and respected me for it. And I go in there and I'll, do whatever it takes to get the job done. Um, to carry around, like to move the bottles, like the gas bottles, like on your welder. I would have to ask to have them do that because they weigh just about as much as I do. I can get them down. It's easy to get them down. Getting them back up part is a challenge, but I was very lucky and did not deal with sexism. I thought that the welding industry was different in that there wasn't sexism in it. Just to do a little quick back, I was an auto mechanic for 7 years out of high school, and I dealt with nothing but sexism in auto mechanics. And so I assumed I would get the same thing in welding done. It's like, screw it. I am just going to, it's what I want, and I'll do whatever it takes. Um, but it just, for me, it was different. Now, I did meet women later on that that's not always the case, and that some women have had sexism um, in male-dominated industries. Now, it's not everybody. It's sure as hell not everyone. The company I work in had 120 people, and I never heard anything or never dealt with anything. People were super supportive of me, and I had this passion to learn, and they saw it, and so like these people took me under their wing and taught me. No, I did. I will say, like, I did get lucky, but it's also it speaks to the men I was working with, is that they just they saw the work ethic, and I didn't get seen as a woman. I just saw it as a worker, which that's all I asked for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think as women, we need to be able to support each other regardless of what we do. And if we don't have the people around us, whether they're men or women, support us in that same way, it makes the job that we're doing or the business that we're building or the project that we're working on so much easier to do. So I love that you had that positive environment to work in. So you bootstrapped it pretty much. I mean, you worked on your projects and worked on honing your craft as you continued working full time, correct?
I did.
I like that. Okay. So how long did it take before you felt successful in your business and being an artist?
Um, 4 years of working full time, 7 days a week. Most days I worked 14 to 16-hour days, and I've worked 18-hour days plenty. 4 years of that. Last summer, um, I really started feeling a lot more stable where I could breathe a little bit, and get a little bit more picky with the commissions that I'm taking, and was able to start saying no to people that the projects that weren't setting my soul on fire. I was able to say no. So that for me, 4 years full time. And I would love to know how many thousands of hours that was, but and it's just problem solving and problem solving to get to that point. I have no training in business, no training in art, and so there was a lot of failure in those 4 years in order to get to where it was like I could finally start being able to breathe. A lot of honesty that I didn't want to be honest about, like where I was failing.
And failing as in not knowing what you needed to know, or failing as in making mistakes. And to me, if obviously if you're feeling successful now, I'm thinking that you took those failures, turned them into lessons, and said,
Yeah.
okay, this didn't work. This is what I need to work. So sometimes acknowledging that, is that what you mean? In acknowledging that truth that you didn't understand that took knowledge and being okay with?
It was being on, like, the failures where, like, I'm working my ass off and I'm not selling anything. And so as an artist, that's a failure because you need to sell in order to earn, to survive, to thrive, and to continue making things that you love. And so when I say failures, I've never failed because I've never stopped trying. But there are deep lessons that, looking at myself without beating myself up and saying, where are you weak? Where can you strengthen? What is the one thing that you can work on today that's going to like give you the most, like to bring you forward the farthest? What's something you could do today? And for me to start looking at myself and just saying, and I actually learned this early on. I was very lucky. About 9 months into being full time, I was failing magnificently. I had $35 left in the bank. And I maybe sold, I think, $65 worth of stuff in that 9 months. Um, $65, not 650. So I call it, I was failing magnificently at a high rate of speed at that point. And what saved me was my willingness to say, to sit down with myself and say, what is working? What is not working? What can you do right now to change this? So realizing that I sucked at sales, and by sucked at sales is I wasn't selling at all. And I'm not a dumb person, but I just didn't realize, and like it sounds stupid saying it, but I didn't know I had to sell stuff. I don't even know what I thought, but it was just like, I just knew I needed to create the art. And everything else after that was an afterthought. I mean, it wasn't even an afterthought. I didn't think about it. I just was making art and I had stuff piling up. And every now and then I'd post a picture on Facebook and like, oh, well, I made this. But looking at myself honestly and saying, where are you weakest? Where can you strengthen yourself without beating myself up and just going to work? Like absolutely going to work. And so every single time I've had a failure, I call them stepping stones. And so like, I've taken my failures, I've made them into my stepping stones, and I've used these stepping stones to get to the success.
That's spectacular. I love that you had the insight to do that. I really do. So many of us, and honestly, I mean, I've done it, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who've done it who get so caught up in the quagmire of, as you said, I failed magnificently, and don't take the time to analyze what we're doing and taking those failures and using them as stepping stones, as you said. Um, I'd love to talk to you more about that, and we can do that at a later date on another podcast, another YouTube. But because I think that that's something that we really could dive really deep in, as far as how you came to that realization and all that kind of stuff. Thank you for mentioning that. I really do appreciate that. Um, do you have written goals?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of goals, but I have end game. So I have end game. I have 6 things that are deeply important to me, and everything that I do in my daily business, whether I'm in my shop, whether I'm making videos, writing a book, regardless of what I'm doing, those are the goals that are in my mind. Like everything I do goes to support those. So technically are goals, but I have like one of my main things is I want to donate millions of dollars of art supplies to after school programs in areas with like low income areas, because that's what I came from. And so I want to put art into these communities, hoping that that art will help enhance their lives like it has with mine. And whether it does or not, I there's no control over that. But I'm gonna pay artists to go in and teach the kids, and so the artists thrive. I can help the artists thrive by paying them. I can help the kids, and so like that's one of the things. So like when I get tired and I'm grinding something and my arms tired, I'm just like just push through it, because if you don't, then there's kids out and I'll cry over it. If you don't, like those kids are gonna go without play, or they're gonna go out with paintbrushes, or like you need to do that. So I have like these massive goals like that, but then I have, and I say massive, I have small, like huge goals. I have other huge goals that are going to get me to that. So yes, goals, and there's a lot of them.
Do you have them written down? I mean, do you have a vision board? Do you have something
Oh yeah.
that shows you? I mean, if I'm a visual person, so I'm thinking, okay, I need to have something in front of me. But I know that not everybody's like that. So are you someone who has to have it in front of you, or is it somebody that, are you somebody that as long as you keep, telling yourself in your mind, okay, I've got to, like you said, kids aren't going to have clay, they aren't going to have a paintbrush. Does that work enough to motivate you, or do you need to have that visual as well?
I am visual as well. I have a 3 foot by 4 foot vision board in my bedroom that I have stuff written down on, that my mission, and that I have those 6 things that are deeply important to me, and it's something I see on a daily basis, like several times a day, and it's stuff that I, yeah, definitely love to visualize. And so, like as an artist, that's what I've got. I wake up and it's there, constantly front of mind.
Yeah, I love that. That I know for me is very important to have those pictures and that image, so that I don't forget where I'm working. You sometimes you get so engrossed in what you're doing and what's going on in your world, to forget where you're headed. So I love that. What kind of stuff do you do for growth, for personal development, self-development?
I read a lot of books and I watch videos on YouTube, and I look for people through like LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, any of them. I don't follow anyone unless they have positive stuff on their page. I'm very, very particular, and I guard my world ferociously with what comes into my head. I don't let people complain around me. But as far as like the growth and stuff, I definitely like YouTube and books. I have like a small library of books that I've read again and again. I'm always on the lookout for new books to help me.
I love that. Do you have, sorry, I had a brain fart. Forgot what I was gonna ask you. I was like, and you know what's bad is the questions are right there. Like, and I was like, "Oh, it's gone." I had a thought in between pop in. I was like,
I do that all the time. You never have to apologize for. Literally in the middle of a conversation, I'll tell him like, I missed the entire conversation. Can you please repeat that? Because I was building a sculpture in my head.
yeah, I do the same thing. And that's one of the great things of talking with an artist is that you completely understand. Oh, I've got it. I've got this picture in my head that I just did that right here while we were talking. So completely understood. Oh my God. So question was, are you a planner? So do you write all your stuff down that you need to have done? Or are you more of a go with the flow and as you've got a project or a couple projects that you're working on, you just get them set out and laid out and work on them as you go? Or do you have it structured and this is how the things are? Yeah.
Structured. I like, for an artist, I am structured on a lot of stuff. And I think that kind of like the left brain, right brain thing is like some people are creative and some people like with the numbers, and I do both. I have a list of like whether it's either for the day or for the week, it's things that I need to accomplish that's gonna make me say, like, if I accomplish these 4 things, I feel really good about myself today. And that's something for me is I'm fiercely driven and and like sometimes stuff will come up where I'm like, I'm gonna go and do this, and this, and something else will come up and I'll deem that more important. So I'm not like, this can't change, but usually I like to have the direction so I know where I'm going and I know what the most important thing for me to handle is going to move me forward the fastest.
Perfect. I love that. What kind of stuff do you do for fun? Because for me, welding would be fun. I mean, that'd be like having fun all day long. So what more do I need? But I mean, I know fishing.
I have actually been once this year.
Yes, finally. So what other things? I mean, welding I know for you is fun and that's some way for you to express yourself. But other than that, what other things do you like to do for fun?
Traveling. Traveling is on the top of my list, and that's one of the things that my goal is to have my art take me all over the world. Uh, I've always wanted to travel, and I've never been in a position to financially. And through my art over the last 2 years, I have gone amazing places. It's all been in the United States so far, uh, but I am so excited that I'm actually going to go out of the country next year. That I got my passport last year with intention that I will travel the world, and this year I get an email from a company I've been working with for quite a while that they are going to send me to Germany in order to go to promote them um, at a trade show over there. So like the travel, the opportunity to travel, experiences and adventures, like that's like art and like family art experiences and adventure. Like that right there is just perfection. Sunrises and sunsets in all different places.
That's phenomenal. I love that you want to travel. There's so many people who are happy with where they are. I want to stay here. I don't want to go anywhere else. The ones who travel, those are the people that speak to my soul.
Absolutely.
I love
It's
it.
the adventure and just I don't know, the world is so huge. And to think that, I grew up in a very, very small town, we're very sheltered growing up as far as like what's out there. And when I started traveling, like I would go places and like I have no idea what half the food is. I'm like, I thought Taco Bell was Mexican. Sorry, Taco Bell apparently is not. Like the things that you learn when you go to Arizona. I mean, what? The lady almost fell off her chair laughing at me. I'm like, that's what I know. She's like, chai is guacamole. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like I can't even look at Taco Bell anymore. I'm like, you lied to me.
False
Oh,
representation.
yeah, which I still love Taco Bell. I can't even lie. I love Taco Bell.
Oh my gosh. So, do you have women in your life or women that you know of who inspire you?
Absolutely. Um, my mom, first of all, who my mom did some really amazing stuff. Like my mom was an artist, and this is something I didn't really think about, but she's a stay-at-home mom. She made my clothes when I was a kid. I mean, like who does this stuff, right? And then um, she actually was a cartoonist, like a professional cartoonist when I was really little. And this is back before like, emails and all that. And it's like she would create a cartoon and draw it and come up with the funny stuff. And then she would send it to all these different magazines, like snail mail send it. And she had a business where she would get checks in the mail from her art. And so for me, and we're talking like she had stuff in Playboy, don't touch. She had stuff in Playboy. I was like, my mom is like the sweetest, most innocent lady ever, right? She's like the church lady from Saturday Night Live. And I'm like, literally got cartoons of play. I'm like, what? It's friends with the guy that writes Marmaduke, the cartoon Marmaduke. Like when my brother was born, the guy literally, I apologize because I don't remember his name, really drew a picture of Marmaduke and says Marmaduke sends Grant a big smack. And it was like his, like kissy face with hearts. And I mean, like my mom, back when it was really difficult to be an artist, was an artist. And so like I just deep admiration for that. Like I remember sitting underneath her easel as a kid, like behind like pillows. And like I had a little fort under there. Like that was not to sit there and just like play around or whatever, and, like Barbie stuff. Like while she's doing her art. Um Today, and my mom is still like, my biggest hero. Like I'm stunned by what she did. But I also have women that are I've met and some I have not met. Through social media for me is a big, big wealth of these badass women that are just crushing life. They're doing whatever they want. And there's no like the gender boundaries I think are coming down. This is my opinion. I think they're coming down and a lot more women are seeing other women through social media, through the internet and everything else that like one of the women I deeply look up to, she's a cover girl model and races motorcycles. I am just like, who are you? You're just amazing. The other friend is a monster truck driver. I have a woman that not only owns her own garage, a 6-bay garage. It's the nicest mechanic shop I've ever seen in my entire life. And I was a mechanic for 7 years. I've been through a lot of shops. But not only that, but she also co-stars on a TV show. I have another woman friend that is a contractor in real life, but also has a TV show where she does contractor stuff. There's so many amazing women out there just totally crushing it that I deeply admire. They're living their truth every single day.
And I love that there are so many more women doing not only doing jobs or doing creating careers for themselves that are outside of what most people would consider a woman's job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But doing it amazingly well. And that's honestly, that's one of the main reasons why I'm creating this channel and this podcast is because I want to share with more young women, my granddaughters,
Oh
eh,
yeah.
honestly, anything that you want to be, you can be, you know, and there was a time And even from my generation, and I'm not that old, 50 is not that old for, having that boundary come down and being able to do the things we want to do. I mean, when I look at you and you're a welder, I'm like, oh, that's freaking, I mean, yeah, it just is. I know that I've been in that industry, so I know working in construction, there are not very many women out there who are doing that side of the laborer side. It's been such a male dominated industry,
Oh, yeah.
automobiles and all these things that those lines are blurring, and it's phenomenal to watch. It's absolutely phenomenal to watch. Um, I have a couple questions that I didn't send you.
I don't care.
I
So,
don't.
I'm good. I'm good on the fly.
So earlier you were talking about books that you reread. What's your favorite book? You have a one or two favorite books that you'd like to share?
I'm gonna have to say my first favorite book is called Rhinoceros Success by Scott Alexander. This book is very special to me. It's literally like, I think like 80 some pages. It's a very short book. It has larger print and there's cartoons in it. And it talks about being a rhinoceros in life, about charging ahead and getting what you want. It talks about having very thick skin, so that like as you're charging through the jungle, that the little prickers and stuff, it doesn't affect you. Just kind of brushed off. But the whole premise is about just being a rhinoceros. And the book it's smart, it's funny, it's a fast read, but there's so much truth in it. And the story behind the book, if you give me a minute and like, to make a long story longer, to make a long story longer, the way I got the book and found out about the book was I was at a library book sale with my mom and dad very early on in my full-time metal sculptor career. And the books were 50 cents a piece, and I found two books and had to borrow $1 from my mom and dad, no shit, to get the books. And this was one of the books. It spoke to me, and I don't know what it was, but it spoke to me. I took it home and I read it. I read it the second time, and then on a humbug, and this is an older book, and I want to say 80s ish. Don't quote me on this one. Um, I reached out to the author on Facebook, and I thought, I just love this book so much. It's just, it really, it was exactly what I needed. And the universe said, Barbie, your wish is my command. And so I just wanted to reach out to the author and tell him thank you. That I'm so grateful that he put in all his hard work to make that book happen, because it really shifted my mindset. And that book actually was the beginning of me on my path to self improvement. I reached out to the author. He wrote me back surprisingly and was just like, I don't know, for me, I'm just like, oh my God, an author. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is incredible. Uh, he was a magnificent human being, is a magnificent human being, wrote me back and was just like so kind. We've actually been friends ever since. I've actually bought several of his books. I ask him for signed copies. And then when I talk to people online, I send people signed copies of his book because everyone needs this. It's just, and like I said, my son, who at the time was like 12, like he's read it several times. It's just something that, because it's just such a fun read. Yeah, Rhinoceros Success by Scott Alexander. And the guy is just incredible. And one of his friends actually, I made a rhinoceros sculpture, and one of his friends bought it. It just, like I make what speaks to me, and I was like, because of like that whole like becoming a rhino thing, that's one of my favorite sculptures that I've made. That doesn't have wings. It's my favoriteest ever that doesn't have wings.
Most of them do have wings. Your dragons are just
They do.
like, so beautiful.
Thank you.
I think I have an idea, but just to ask, what kind of a legacy do you want to leave?
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great question. It is of utmost importance for me to teach people, to inspire people to thrive emotionally and financially, because I know how soul crushing it is to not to. My main focus is kids and artists, entrepreneurs, but honestly, it's anybody. It's anybody who's willing to listen. I went through deep depression, and that'll come out in my biography someday, like how very deep the depression was. Um, I went through hell, my own choices, and I'm very, very grateful for everything I've ever been through. But not like we're just barely surviving. Single mom, 2 kids, no child support. Uh, just have had to have had to survive for a long time. Art has changed everything for me. So to be able to take something I'm madly in love with, my art, um, it is of utmost importance that I inspire other people to follow their dreams, and by not follow them, but really just like crush the crap out of them. Like just go live your dream, do whatever it takes, as long as you're not hurting anyone else. That so that you can like make choices that make you happy. Like if you're at a job and you're schlepping to work every day and you're not happy, like I just want to inspire people to go and find their way, go and find the stuff that really makes them happy. But the thriving emotionally and financially, like the legacy, and like my plan is to do it mainly through my art and through art, and like through my donations with art, like the donations of art supplies, like that for me is it. But I really do like that. But I told you, like, I think huge. I don't think big. I think like really huge. Like my goal is like all that. But at the end of the day, like I want people to remember my name. Like there's like Barbie was here. Like I want, like that's my little corner of the world where, like making sculptures that make people feel. They look at it and like they feel the sadness, and they look at it and they feel like hope, or like I want that remembered thing. That's something that like the legacy is important to me. And like I don't know what's gonna happen when I die. I have no idea. And I've had someone that I deeply admired die like recently, and this woman was one of my biggest inspirations. And she's here one day and she's gone the next. And it was very, very humbling because I knew she was an amazing human being. But like after she passed, I learned even more about her and like her foundations and what she did. And I'm just like, I need to move my ass because tomorrow, like I can go to walk into my shop and trip and bash my head off and I'll be gone. And it's just like, for me, it's, I want to do the most good as I possibly can while I'm here. Affect as many people as I can. And, because this woman that just passed, because of her, I'm in the position I am today because I looked to her and was like, if she can do it, I can. And that's what I'm hoping to do for other people. Like, I'm proof that you can go from just soul crushing depression, from being a single mom, from living in the projects, from being on welfare, like, from that, like, I mean, some of the stuff that I've accomplished, if you would have told me 5 years, I would have called you a liar. Most of the stuff that I've accomplished, if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would do that, I would have called you a liar. But now I've done it, and there's video of it, and there's proof that I've done it, and I want people to look at me and say, "She can do it." I'm so glad. I think that's probably the legacy more than anything else. More than anything else I just said, that right there. I want people to look at me and have hope that they can have a life that is beyond their wildest dreams.
That's one of the reasons why I really wanted to interview you and do more follow-up interviews is because you you are an inspiration. I mean, you are even not knowing your whole story, you inspire. You bring hope to people who, are I mean, it's so many times that I call you like, "Ah," crack. And even if I just send you a text and the world's falling apart, and just even a couple words or even, a phrase, it we do that for each other, but I know that we both want to expand our reach And, you sharing your story and allowing people to see that vulnerability and that authenticity. And you show that in your videos when you're on Instagram and you're posting your stuff. You show that through your book. All of the things that you do, you express yourself in such an authentic and beautiful way that I don't see any doubt. I don't have any doubt in my heart that you're gonna create a massive impact in a lot of women's lives and a lot of girls' lives. So I admire you for being who you are and being true to yourself. It takes a lot to be true to yourself.
I don't know how to be anyone else. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to be me.
Yeah.
I'm good at being me.
And that's
Goofy and
and sweet and adorable and badass. I mean, hell yeah, badass, absolutely. So that being said, what would you like to let other women, girls, young ladies out there? What would you like them to know?
what? I apologize. I didn't hear that.
That's okay. What would you like other women, young girls, ladies? What would you like them to know? What's a message that you would like to leave them with?
You can be, do, or have anything that you want. I think that in society, in the past, women have been brought up to be these Disney princesses that, with all due respect, I love Disney and World Wall, I love his vision, but these women, with all due respect,
Well, I'm just looking at your shirt. You have Ariel on your shirt, which
I
is
do. She's also, she got some tattoos.
tattoo real. That's why I was giggling. It's like it's so perfect. Absolutely appropriate. Go ahead.
But we're brought up with these fairy princesses from Disney that are in need of rescue. And for whatever reason that message is being put out, and I love Disney movies. I love Disney movies. But if you really look at it, all these Disney princesses need to be rescued, and they're waiting for men to come and rescue them. And listen, you're not a Disney princess. Go and rescue your damn self. No one is coming for you. Go out and do stuff for yourself. Go out, and I'm not saying like this, not like I'm not saying men are trying to hold us down or anything else like that. It's the last thing in the world. Like women and men need to coexist. We both need it, and men need to rescue their damn selves too. Stop being scared to go out and be a nurse. You know what I'm saying? Like, go be a nurse because you're good at it. Men get sexism too, and it's something that I don't think that we as women always think about. We're all like, oh, rah, us, and that's good. But I just think everybody in general just needs to understand that there's no one coming to rescue you. If you want a great life, if you want beautiful things, if you want to travel the world and adventure, then go do it. Find inspiration through people online if you don't have people in your life, because not everyone is lucky enough to have like supportive families and everything else. Um, Shut out all the noise. If people are being negative, get rid of them, or at least distance yourself from them to a point. And I know it's hard with family, but we are so impressionable. And if we have all this negativity in our life all the time, you just get inundated with it, and the news is negative, and this is negative, and the neighbors complain about that. It's like this energy that just kind of sucks your will to live. And I think that we're so used to all this negative, you don't always realize that you're not even, you're not in like this great place. And so by being very thoughtful about who and what you let into your life, but also understanding that no one is going to come and rescue you. You can have a life that is beyond your wildest dreams, but you have to go and do that for yourself. And listen, it's not going to happen overnight. It is a long process, especially like if you're like me or anywhere near like me, like being on welfare and being on government subsidized housing. And I was working my funds off, but still couldn't afford to, afford the housing to put my kids and my family. But I made a decision, and it all started with that decision. And everything else came from that. I decided that day that I'm going to be the metal sculptor. And I never once diverted from that decision. Everything I did from that moment on went and supported that decision. And I had everyone was like, "You're batshit crazy. You don't know art, you don't know this." But I was just like, that decision, put my ear pluggers on and like, block everyone else out. I'm like, this is what I want for me. This is what I know will make me happy. And I know eventually it's going to help support my family. And I mean, like, I had no idea what it was going to grow into, but making a decision and cutting off all other options, but also being flexible in how it happens. So I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew it had to happen. But making a decision and being willing to do whatever it takes to go after it, and then blocking the motive as well. That's a short version of all of that.
I appreciate you breaking it down though. I do. I appreciate you you could have just said, block out the noise, block out the negativity, and get focused on what you want to do. But you expounding on that makes it more personal, makes it a lot easier for people to gravitate to, because they're like, okay, look, I see Barbie. Barbie, first off, tiny little thing, badass welder. I mean, no, I mean, the first time I saw you, first off, amazing jacket. I still want it. And no, I'm not trading the jeans for the jacket. In one of our next interviews, you're gonna have to wear the jacket, and I'm gonna have to wear the jeans, and we'll have to like, show them and be like, "That's."
There we go.
But then when you told me what you did, I was like, "Oh yeah, kindred soul, absolutely." So, and you being open and willing to tell me what you do, and me being open and willing to tell you what I do and accept each other. We need a lot more women who are supporting each other, and we don't need to be tearing each other down. We need to be building each other up, and I am so grateful to be calling you a friend. And this, serious, it's an amazing. I can.
Strong women raise other women up.
We do, absolutely.
It's about finding your tribe. It's about finding the people, the kindred spirits, and sometimes it's a challenge because it's not always a thing to have women that, for whatever reason, were fiercely competitive.
Mhm.
And like, I don't know, because of dealing with the sexism growing up, I hated being a woman and I hated women. And
Yeah.
it was nothing to do with y'all. It was all about me. And it was like the fact that I hated women because I hated myself.
Yep.
As I've grown to love myself through my art and through like what I've been through, I actually find, like by loving myself, I love other women. I find women that are just like yourself. They're strong. They're out there raising each other up. They're just beautiful human beings, and they're just so badass. And I feel that in my experience of women who are tearing each other down, are the women who don't love themselves. And only because of my experience and understanding what I went through, bullied, and then like with the sexism and just everything, it just, one thing led to another. But it's just like finding women that I loved and respected, like they were badass and they're out doing stuff. I'm just like, what? And it's like starting to see it, but then realizing eventually it was like, you can't give what you don't have. So it's like, how can you, be kind to someone if you're not even being kind to yourself? So the whole, thing is just like figuring out, where the women are that like you really respect and just staying with them, or find it whether like, and if you can't find them in person, go find them online. Because there's a lot of times that I put in so many hours here, I don't leave my house. And so I'm not around a lot of people a lot of times. And so I like when I'm freaking out, I gotta reach out to people and I'm just like, I'm freaking out. I could use some help right now. Kick me in the butt and tell me that everything's gonna be okay or whatever. But like having that communication, but having the friends and the people I could reach out to is priceless.
Yeah, I think that is going to be another one of our another one of our interviews and talk about, because just get on here and just talk about self-love, and through self-love being able to love and appreciate other women, because I really think that is imperative. So one last question. What's one question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
So, what are your goals in the next 5 years?
Mm, it's fantastic. Okay, so answer the question. I have an idea what it might be, but
Um, I am in the process of creating a television show that is going to, I know, right? I'm batshit crazy for doing it, but someone else before me did it and they figured it out. And if they can, I can too. I'm going to create a television show that is a reality show
yeah.
that showcases artists and showcases the welding industry in the most magnificent light. It's going to help artists get their art seen. It's going to help them sell art, and the winner is going to win money. I'm going to be right now, as it stands, I'm working on being the executive producer and the hostess for it, and I'm giving myself 6 months 6 months to design this show, to put it all on paper, to create a sizzle reel, and um, get funding for it because I'm probably gonna bootstrap this sucker also because I have this vision for it that it has to do the things that it has to do, and I don't want to give up control on that because if someone comes in and they're the executive producers, they can change it and create a bunch of drama, and it's just not what I'm looking for. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I've got a book that I'm going to start writing next week, which will be my fourth book. I'm going to buy a big girl shop. I'm still working after 5 years. I'm still working on a one-car garage that is 12 foot by 23 foot. It is literally a one-car garage, and I tell people all the time, I've done videos of it, and people still show up and they're like, "Are you kidding me?" No, it's a one-car garage.
No, I agree. I've seen videos of it, and I think that can't be all of it. And
Oh,
I,
it
I'm like,
oh, it is. It really is.
it looks so much bigger, because you just show sections of it, and you think, oh, so there's this section, and this section. If I put them all together, it's huge. In reality, it's not. In my mind, it is.
Hey, in my mind, it is also. I have like this giant fabrication shop in my mind, but you don't need you don't need big area to do big things. And I've done some really massive things from this little tiny shop. It's just a matter of time. You can't work this hard for this long and make the right decisions without it having eventually pay off. With big little shop, and I'm gonna move to Tennessee because it's warmer there. I'm in New York now. I want Tennessee. I want the seasons, but I want the warmer version of the seasons. So that's the main goal. And I'm moving into public art. Going from the smaller pieces that I've been doing, anywhere from about 8 inches tall up to about 3 foot has been my normal range. There's only been a couple that have been. I've got a 6 foot tall one, then one that's nine and a half foot tall guitar I made. The Phoenix that's behind me, she is my push into public art because I can't draw and I don't have like this big portfolio of stuff. I basically just have a website and a lot of Instagram. I make stuff so that I can show clients that this is what I'm capable of doing. And so this sculpture here is going to be, it'll actually be my third public sculpture, but this one is just going to be something that I'm going to make in the hopes of promoting this in a way so that people go, this is what I want. And so my goal is for like Vegas hotels and places like that that have like the big areas to have something. And she's going to have fire on her because I'm going to learn how to do that too. So that's one of the areas that I want to also go into. So, and like there'll be so many more things coming along that I don't even know are coming along yet because the last 5 years was freaking magnificent. I never would have guessed. So all those things, yes, plus a whole bunch of more stuff that I have no idea what's coming down the pipe. It's coming.
Just being open to the universe to allow for whatever's coming through.
Oh yes.
Send it my way. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Barbie, thank you so much. Like I said, I want to continue. We're going to have a couple other conversations at a later time. on the at least two different topics that we talked about, self-esteem and everything. But I thank you so much. I really appreciate you being a part of this. Um, I greatly admire what you do, and you're an absolute inspiration. Thank you very, very much for doing this.
Oh, thank you so much for taking your time to talk. And it is an absolute honor to have you interview me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode and would love to have you back again. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button from wherever you're listening to this. Thank you for all the support, because I'm here to lift you up, inspire, and encourage you. Have a spectacular day. Until next time, continue to be the light in the world, and don't forget, live life adventurously.